Kathy Klotz-Guest is the founder of Keeping It Human, but she didn't always show up as her full self at work. Early on in her career, there was corporate Kathy and funny Kathy, and the two never mixed until she realized it was time to break the script. Next and final speaker for today, Kathy Klotz-Guest. Welcome, Kathy.
Thanks, Joy. Early in my career, I lived an integrated life, and I was fairly happy. And then about a year after college, well, that's when the real world came knocking. And that's when who I was checked at the door. And that's when I began to lead this dual life. I had my work persona and I had my non-work persona. And I know that may seem exciting, like, I'd work boring jobs during the day, and then off hours, I'd jet off to some exotic location to go catch the bad guys. Well, the truth was I was working a corporate high-tech job during the day, but I wasn't a spy in my off hours. I was, however, doing something that I loved, something that made me so happy that most people would find pretty scary, scarier than espionage. I was doing stand-up comedy and improv comedy 7 nights a week. And I could say all the things that I wasn't supposed to say as a woman in tech. So that stage was freedom to me. Now, at first, I brought funny Kathy to work with me. I mean, why not? I liked her. She was sassy, she was edgy, she was hilarious, and she wasn't above feeling goofy. She was a truth teller, and she ruined many family Thanksgiving dinners. But when I would try to bring myself into work, I got stopped pretty quickly at the door. Men and women who thought that they were helping me, they weren't, said, this version of who you are is not welcome here. You can't be your full self at work. And what surprised me is that most of the people who said that were women. And it took me years to realize that many of these women were overcoming their own hard experiences and projecting them onto me. So I was advised a whole long list of things not to say, not to do, not to wear. And every day when I would get to work, I would look in the bathroom mirror in the women's restroom, and I just had to get my head straight just to face the day. And I'd count off all the things that I needed to be aware of. Okay, don't laugh too much. Don't laugh too loud. Don't wear this, don't wear that. Don't stare too long. Don't perceive to be too ambitious. Don't be assertive. Don't sit next to this guy. Don't ask too many questions. Don't be too smart. And it was exhausting, truly exhausting. Now, at this time in my life, I was in my early 20s. And so I had long blonde hair, and I loved to wear skirts and heels. I mean, hello, I was single and ready to mingle. Come on. But I was told that my humor and my femininity would mean that I would never be taken seriously at work. So they said, be less you, dress less like you, and put your hair up. Yeah. And so I realized pretty quickly that if I wanted to fit in, I was going to have to leave who I was in the car, in the parking lot, before I got to the office every day. And so I did. And after work, though, funny Kathy took over and corporate Kathy took a back seat. And comedy stages, oh my gosh, this is where I came alive. I could say whatever I wanted, and I had a lot of things that I needed and wanted to say as a woman in tech. And there was a lot to say. But I was encouraged to voice my opinion, to have a persona, to say the truth. I could be myself. I could experiment. And it was amazing and magical and powerful. And in improv, well, everybody yes ands what you do and they go with the flow. Yes and means you give an offer and they say yes. They accept the reality that you created. And then they and, which means they add on to that idea to move that idea forward. The beautiful thing is that when you make a big, bold, audacious choice in improv, you're never wrong. I mean, it's in the improv Bible. So these are the stages where I came alive and I could be this person around people I trusted. And then back at work, well, I'd put the corporate Kathy suit back on, march back into work, and give them that version of myself. And I was getting promoted as long as I served up funny or smart, just not both at the same time. And I became the world's biggest people pleaser. I mean, I yes-anded everybody but me. I mean, it was visible from the space station. And I got really, really good at it. And then about 7 years went by. And here I was, leaving parts of myself at the door. And a really good friend and coworker pulled me aside one day. And he said, I've known you a lot of years, and you used to be so joyful and playful and funny and happy. Who are you? And it landed for me because I didn't recognize myself anymore. I had compartmentalized myself so much that I had literally given pieces of myself away. I had outsourced my voice. And they were right. I had bought into this whole BS of or, the tragedy of or, funny or smart, this or that. So I did at that time what any reasonable woman in tech would do. I walked into the women's restroom at work and I had a bathroom floor cry. That's right. An ugly, hot mess, mascara running, hair everywhere, gut-wrenching, heart-rending, on the floor. Oh God, why? This is so hard. Why? What am I doing? Cry. Why? Because it's our ugly cry zone. It's the place where women could go and not be judged. I mean, who among us hasn't had a bathroom breakdown moment? Or maybe 5 or 10? Who's counting? But here's the thing. I grieve for who I could have been. I could have been happier, bolder, more confident. I could have been so much more whole had I not kept these worlds so separate. I spent my entire 20s playing by other people's rules just to fit in. And the worst part about it, I still didn't belong. So after my meltdown, I picked myself up, dusted myself off, went back to that mirror, right? Looked at myself in that mirror and made a vow right then and there to reclaim who I am and who I was before people started telling me who I should be to make them more comfortable. And I was going to reclaim my soul, and I was going to bring more of who I am back to work and be fully me. So as I'm getting ready to leave the bathroom, I look down and I see a long trail of toilet paper sticking to my heel. And I'm like, God, you've taken every ounce of my dignity. Just give me a little bit, please. Just a little. But I'm so grateful for my comedy background because improvisation reminded me that the only antidote to the fragmenting of oneself is anding all of who you are. That's the only way. So I started bringing more of who I was back to work. Now, I wish I could tell you that everybody liked this full self. They did not. And they told me about it. But I didn't care. It didn't matter because I did. I did. And I became happier and bolder and braver and funnier. And most importantly, I was more effective for myself and for others. And finally, I was promoted by a boss that said, you know, your humor is your superpower. Why on earth would you hide it? They're not you. You're not them. Don't listen to them. And when he said that, I got to say the words that many women wish they could say. I have 10 men under me. Yes. Oh. And then about a year after that, another bathroom moment. It came full circle. It's always a bathroom moment. Why are these epiphanies in bathrooms, ladies? I don't know. It just is. So I came out of the stall to wash my hands in the sink. And this new hire, this lovely woman from Eritrea, Africa, she had the most beautiful accent. And she came over to me and she said, I love your laugh. And what I love especially is that you don't care if other people are laughing. You just laugh for yourself. And she said, where I'm from, I was told not to laugh too much and not to laugh too loud, so I don't. And in that moment, I realized we were not so different. We were raised half a world away from each other, but she was my soul sister. And I know that I have a bunch of soul sisters here in this audience today watching, because you too have had to leave something at the door. So many of us fear rejection that we make the hard choices about how much of ourselves we show and to whom, just as I did. How many of you right now have never voiced ideas that you've had just simply because you were afraid that you would be rejected for who you are and what you believe? And the thing is, that's not belonging, that's fitting in. And Brene Brown has this great quote. Fitting in is becoming who you think you have to be accepted. And the truth is, I never fully fit in. I mean, I never felt okay about it. And the tragedy of ore, the real tragedy of ore, is that you fragment yourself so much and so hard and for so long to fit in, and you still never belong. So if you're oring yourself, you are robbing the world of your genius. And I want you to follow what REO Speedwagon said in their song, just throw away the oars forever. Look, we have some really big problems in the world today to solve. And we cannot do that unless everybody leads from every part of their soul. The other thing is when you say yes and to yourself, you can stay in integrity while also yes anding others. It's not either or. One of my favorite improv coaches back in Chicago used to say to me over and over many times, Kathy, don't drop your shit. And what she meant was when you yes and who you are and what you believe in every part of your soul, you own your power with unstoppable integrity. And leaders and all of who they are. They and the bad things, the good things, their mistakes, their idiosyncrasies, their playfulness, their curiosity, their joy, their humor, their power. Because when you own who you are authentically, every part, you send up flares to the universe that says, this is who I am without apology. And that's how you attract your people. Today, I'm a company founder. I'm a storyteller. I spent 15 years in tech, 10 of those years leading teams. And I've spent 2.5 decades doing comedy. And today I am so honored that I get to work with leaders and help them lean more into their truth by leaning into who they are, all of it. And see, that's just it. The truth is so much more clear and it is worth fighting for when you yes and yourself. Look, the world needs your voice. And that power only comes when you yes and yourself unapologetically. Because that version of you, that version is your birthright and nothing less. Look, life is like the hokey pokey. Yeah, you got to put your whole ass in and damn right, you should shake it all about. Imagine this. Imagine the collective power of women everywhere, whole assing every part of their lives without apology. Man, that is enough energy to shatter a lot of glass ceilings. I'll leave you with this. Where are you not showing up as your full self in your life? And what is it costing you and those around you? Look, like me, you're being called to adventure, to step up, to reclaim your power, to tell your truth so that you can change the world in your way. And I hope that you will answer that call with yes anding yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Wow. Don't go away because Kathy's going to be on our panel.